All right, hopefully it's not too loud here and the sound comes out okay, but I'm at the airport in Denver right now. Just finished up our seminar with Jay and Joel here in Denver. A lot of great people as always. I wanted to make hopefully a very short video about in-home dog aggression. It's something I've discussed and shown a lot throughout the years, all right? I have 5 dogs at home. 4 males, all intact, 1 female, intact. Over the years, I've had Rottweilers and Shepherds, a Dutch Shepherd, Malinois, German Shepherds. I've had a lot of very high drive dogs, very powerful dogs. One of the things I've always bragged about, and it wasn't really for bragging rights, but it was tried to make a point. I put a lot of time and attention on raising the dog inside the home, because for me, that's where the behavior starts. The good behavior or the bad behavior is all created inside the home. And I have a lot of clients over the past 27 years that deal with that in-home aggression and never find relief. And for all those years, I tell people, for half of those 27 years, my dogs have been intact, right? When my female goes into heat, my males don't fight. I still allow my males to go out and play together, never an issue. If I have a client's dog that goes into heat, never an issue. Do they act wacky and crazy and maybe won't eat for 3 days when the female's in prime breeding? Of course, absolutely. It does change everything, but they don't fight. And that comes from the way I've raised them inside the home. From day one, I put a lot of work into those dogs, right? Well, I can no longer say that because last Saturday night, I believe it was Saturday, me, my wife, and Renzo, we built a nice fire outside. We had some drinks, not Renzo, had the music playing. We had Buddy and Luca hanging out with us. And Buddy and Luca got into a little fight. Now, just understand that these two are inseparable. They are best pals and do everything together. When Mango's in heat, Buddy and Luca still play together. I don't separate them. We've never had an issue. So why all of a sudden? A couple of reasons. For one, both are kind of sick. Buddy has cancer. He's under a little bit of stress because of that. Luca's not doing so great. He's really deteriorating. As most of you know that know me, he's suffered from seizures for a real long time and he's been on heavy meds for a long time. But that's not why they fought. It's very simple why they fought. When we were outside, I was out there by myself first, and Buddy and Luca were with me, and they just laid down and were chilling with me, just hanging out, enjoying that time with me, and I was probably enjoying the time more than they were with them, okay? That's an evening that I really get to appreciate, just spending quality time with 2 dogs that I know aren't going to be around much longer. Once Stephanie and Renzo came out, the whole dynamic changed and they got a little excited to be with Mama and Renzo. And couldn't settle much. They wanted to go back and forth between each of them, no problems. But a couple of times I had to stop them from being a little overly excited and rude and trying to take space from each other. Now, space, attention, and affection from the human is a big cause of a lot of the fights of the people I work with. But the average dog owner doesn't understand it or see it, okay? So in other words, at one point when Luca was hanging with me and Buddy came over a little excited because he's a very high energy, spastic, goofy dog, right? At one point when I was just having good, nice, quiet, calm time with Luca, Buddy came over and got a little overzealous and tried to step in there and take that space away from Luca. I don't tolerate that. I sent him away immediately. I'm gonna spend that time with Luca, and now because you were rude and broke some boundaries and rules, you're not welcome here right now, buddy, right? But then when I was done giving that attention to Luca, I sent Luca away and called Buddy over and gave him some attention. And then I called Luca over and was giving them both attention. Not a problem with me. But then once Stephanie and Renzo came out, things changed a little. And, they were just being a little annoying. Buddy more than Luca. And then out of nowhere, that's what most people would say, but it wasn't out of nowhere. They exploded into a fight. Buddy and Luca, best pals for the past almost 11 years, inseparable. All of a sudden, after all this time, got into a fight. Why? Why did that happen? Okay. First, let me say it was short-lived because I exploded off of my chair faster than they exploded. And for a split second, they both thought that they were going to see Jesus, right? Now, physically, I didn't have to touch them. Just me jumping up, being extremely aggressive and forceful in my posture, my tone, everything I did towards them, they separated immediately. And in reality, it was a lot of noise and bluffing, and no one actually injured each other, and there was no hanging on to each other. I didn't have to physically separate them. They separated when I went at them. And then I gave them a very stern talking to. And people are gonna say, what do you mean by that? Was there any physical punishment? No. Did they think there was gonna be physical punishment? I'm sure in the dog brain they did. I went at each very aggressively and let them know that's unacceptable behavior. It's never going to happen, right? And then we went back to normal and everything was fine. The reason that was caused, Luca was relaxing with Renzo, and so was Buddy. One on one side, one on the other. But then Buddy, being the spastic dog that he is, started getting overly anxious and stepped into the middle of Renzo's space, trying to take space away from Luca. That's where the fight happened, okay? As a matter of fact, this is a big majority of the fights inside the home is over space, attention, and affection. The problem is the average dog owner doesn't see that the bad habits that they create inside the home lead to these fights. And this is a common thing. Will they ever fight again? Probably not. Is it possible if one of them starts getting much sicker and feeling worse? Then possibly, but most likely not, okay? Did I keep them separated physically, socially? No. We went right back to normal. And then for the next few days, I would put them outside together, but I would watch them from a window where they couldn't see me to see if anything has changed in that relationship. It didn't. They went right back to normal. Dogs forget very quickly. However, if I would have said, oh man, we can't have this, now we got to worry about this, and I didn't only separate them physically, but also separate them socially, as a lot of people do, meaning one stays in one room, one stays in the other, they're no longer together, that would be the wrong choice. That would be a big mistake, okay? And the reason I'm talking about this, I'm always going to be honest with the people. So when I tell you, up until this point, when I've always said, listen, I've never had a dog fight, that's no bullshit. That's the God's honest truth. But I can't say that anymore, right? That streak was broken. So hopefully we go another 27 years without ever having a dog fight, okay? But it was very obvious why it happened. It's very easy to make sure it never happens again. But this is something that I deal with so many everyday dog owners that struggle with this and never get any relief because they hire a dog trainer. The dog trainer comes in. They try to reward this out of the dogs by shoving food down their throat and bribing the dog, never going to work. Or they throw the e-collar on the dog and they blast the dog anytime the dog looks at each other. That's never going to work. The dogs live with e-collars on, and any sign of tension, the e-collar is hit at high levels. It's never going to work. There's a lot more to it. A lot more to it. And if you don't understand the animal, and you're relying on tools or techniques and methods, you're sure to fail, okay? So I want you to think about that. The biggest culprit, in my opinion, at least one of the biggest culprits, if not the biggest culprit, the battle over space, attention, and affection. And I fell victim to it after all these years, but I don't think it will happen again. And maybe here real soon we'll go a little deeper into that subject, because it is something that haunts a lot of people, okay? Peace.